Welcome to the Alpha Nerd Podcast. I'm your main host, Kyle, along with our new co-host, Rob.
How's it going? Nice to be here.
Andrew's not here today. We're working on stuff with him. He was just unavailable for today. We're hoping getting everything situated. Life happens. Starting out with new stuff. The new Dead Space is actually performing really, really well. People are loving it and giving it really great reviews. Even though a lot of people were Nancy naysayers because of Callisto Protocol.
Everything I saw before it came out was a little bit guarded, but I've watched gameplay of it. It actually looks pretty fantastic. It looks super smooth.
Yeah, and sad thing is I never played the first one, so this is going to be a good start for me to. I'm planning on playing that. It's on my list, along with Hogwarts Legacy and a bunch of other games for the year.
The Hogwarts Legacy one, that's one that's definitely causing a bit of controversy. Everybody's kind of flip-floppy about it.
Yeah, well, the other co-host Andrew, he knows the studio very well, and he doesn't like that studio with anything they've done. So he's on the haterade for that. I'm not so much. I'm just being hopeful because it's an interesting enough game that's not direct. Let's just replay the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, I guess people have been asking for a Harry Potter RPG for what, 2 decades
at least. We pseudo got them with the Harry Potter games way back when we were kids, but they were terrible.
Yeah, they were really bad. But yeah, I think it's a good game to come out. I think it will perform well eventually. I think a lot of people are just throwing their personal opinions at it right now, but I think it will be an interesting game.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be like the game of the year this year.
No,
but I think it'll be a good, solid game.
Yeah, I think it'll be worth the play.
Yeah, and I haven't looked too much into it because I don't like looking too much into anything because then I get shit spoiled for me, stuff spoiled for me. But I'm really hoping they make it some people are hoping it'd be more like a roguelike and try to put more elements of Elden Ring in there, which actually I feel would be a good idea to be able to make the game have longevity.
It would up the replayability, yeah.
Yeah.
From the little bit that I've kind of gleaned from the game, because I haven't really been looking that much into it either, because if I'm gonna play it, I kind of want to go into it blind.
Yes.
Because it feels like the type of game where if you have too much spoiled, it's just there's no point in playing it.
Exactly.
But the only thing that has come out a little bit that I'm it raised an eyebrow, not necessarily in a bad way, but you can do a full villain arc in the game.
Ooh.
You can go full not goody Harry Potter character. You can actually be a bad character, which kind of throws me back to the old Fable games, where your decision making you could become an evil character, but still actually do the story.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, as long as they do it right, it's got to feel more organic. I loved Fable. I've played the first, second, and third one. Oh, the third one was bad, but
it was really bad.
I'll honestly say, out of all three, I would feel the first had it down the most as far as the decision making and feeling the most organic. Second one was decent, but because they had this big epic storyline they wanted to get through, they kind of had to tunnel vision you down certain ways, no matter what choice you made.
Right, and in the first game you could do whatever you want.
Yes,
that was the best part about the first game is no matter what you wanted to do, if you wanted to slaughter a family, you could do that, and it just meant that you grew devil horns. You just became a bad person. Which I like that sense of perpetuity. You could do whatever you want. The problem in the second one was every time you try to do something bad, for the next hour of gameplay, you got chances to remove that bad effect.
Yeah,
and it was hey, you could go do this, and you'll be good again.
Yeah, it was doing everything in its power to kind of push you back.
Yeah, it wanted you to be good. Ultimately.
Yeah, and then 3 was just you're not really evil. You're just doing bad things for a good reason, because the whole king arc of being evil king was you're doing it for the right reasons. You're doing it so everyone lives.
You're more of an anti-hero than an actual villain.
Which is not, for me, good storytelling. They just wanted to push out another game, and I don't think they had anywhere to go with third one. But another piece of news. The Coalition Studios has definitely said that their next game is going to be Gears of War 6.
Ooh.
They've already canceled 2 projects to make sure Gears 6 happens. The one that nobody knew about it at all, and then the one was some little game that they were working on. I have no idea. I don't really follow that studio too well. But I mean, I also I kind of fell off with the Gears series once they started getting past Marcus Phoenix and all them, and then they shoehorned them back in to make it popular again.
I think 3 was the last one I played seriously.
Yep.
Like 4 and 5, I kind of touched.
I don't even remember
at one point, but
I think I played 4. I don't remember. No, I didn't play 4. I don't think I played 4 at all.
I think 4 was the one where they had the 2 female leads, or was that 5?
I think that was 5.
That one I didn't like, not because the leads were female. Like, they actually were kind of interesting
characters.
But it felt like the whole game kind of felt like, you remember how good this game used to be?
Yeah.
Think about that while you're playing this game. That's how the game.
Well, that's what they did. I mean, the end of 4, they shoehorned everybody back in. All of a sudden, there's Dom. Well, Dom was dead.
Oh yeah, Dom was dead. It was
Cole
and Marcus.
Cole, Marcus, and the other dude who always was there, their tech guy. I can't remember his name to save my life. Oh my gosh. I feel ashamed of myself.
I know who you're talking about.
He was the always smart aleck guy.
Yeah.
And then, so they shoehorned them all back in, and then they were doing the same beats as number 3 because they did the whole, instead of doing a whole football scene like Cole did, it was the theater scene where you're fighting. Yeah. And that felt bad. It just felt like it was just so reliant. And to sit there and take away from, you already had a good premise.
Yeah.
Now, I understand like what they did with as they were going through, like the first 2 were very standard, like what they were supposed to be. These, 500 pounds of beef jammed in little trash cans, shooting big gross aliens.
I'm all about that, by the way.
That was what made the game good. Then 3 happened, and they kind of like downsized everyone a little bit, because if you remember 2, Dom's finger was as big as his wife's entire head. Like he just was holding her head, and his finger was outsizing her head. So I get why they started scaling down some of the characters, because it
looked ridiculous.
It looked silly. It looked really silly. But I also liked it because it looked silly. It was just like, this is the epitome of the frat boy, big, tough, manly game. And I was like, this is what they need to stick with. Like, the weather condition in the game wasn't even like real weather condition. It was raining metal for no reason.
Right. I like the idea of just, hey, we've got 2 to 4 Giga Chad Alpha guys.
Yeah.
And you have a chainsaw on your gun. I'm sold.
Yeah. And that's where I was sold with it too. Yeah. And like, I didn't mind 3 as much. It just, then we got to 4 and then 5 where they had the split decision on who's going to die. And
I think the big thing where they fell down that they could have reinvigorated the franchise a little bit is like the first 2 games completely understand where they were going. So the first one was Marcus is a disgraced army person, but they need his help to fight the Locusts.
Yeah,
cool. On top of it, the second game, picks right up after this first game, but they're still having to fight this, and they're still having to take care of the queen and all that.
Yeah, and cool. And then they had the weird scene where you had to go to the lab for some reason, and then it had like a horror movie element for a while, and then it was just like, it led you to believe, oh, well, maybe the Locusts were just mutated from whatever, and that we're the bad guys. And they're like, nope, all done with that, moving on.
I think honestly they should have just end of the second game, Locust starts eliminated on Earth. Yeah. Then goes full Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Make it ridiculous.
Yeah, that's all you had to do.
Go to other planets.
And they did that with 3, because then we had some of the best scenes were happening in 3.
Yeah.
The Cole playing football again to shove dynamite in a core.
Yeah, that was probably one of that. I'd probably put that like one of my top 10 scenes in a game.
Yeah,
like it was just
that
hype.
was in there. So it was really good. So now we're getting 6. I'm lukewarm to it. I'm all caught up on the story because I didn't want to play 5, so I just watched a whole just full synopsis of it. And they're just trying to cycle back to the Locusts again, which I don't like. Like, come up with something else.
Yeah.
Come up with something else.
I would say, like, pre knowing anything about it, I would give it a 4 out of 10. That's what I'm going to say that game's going to be.
Yeah.
It's a 6 game in a series, which traditionally, once you get to 6 games, it's not, like, of the same storyline.
Yeah.
It's not going to be that good.
Resident Evil 6, Trash Fire. What else we got? The only game I know that's any good at 6 was Final Fantasy.
Final Fantasy 6. But none of those games have connected storylines. So
that's true.
So each game is its own micro.
Yeah, I can't think of any.
Well, might not have gotten to 6. Like, there's some games that don't quite get to 6, but you know what I mean. Like, once they reach a certain, like,
you mean like Arkham?
Yeah.
We got to Arkham Origins, which was it wasn't bad. It was just very much not anything to do with the first 2 games, but they just kind of shoehorned it in there.
The first Batman game was fantastic.
Yeah,
it was a great game. Arkham City was fine. It was a
I actually feel Arkham City was better than 1.
The only reason I'll say it's better is because it's more open world. So
that's why. I think it just made me feel so much better to have that big sprawling open world.
Yeah.
Origins I felt was also pretty decent with the open world and some of the elements, like how they, I liked Bane's look, but I also didn't like the fact that he wasn't Bane from the first 2 games.
Right.
But then they figured out a way to tie it all in, so I was okay with that. I also hated the fact that their use of villains was just awful.
The funny thing is with any superhero game is you don't think about how many just garbage tier villains actually exist in these universes. Like, yeah, you have the Joker. Yeah, you have Bane, Poison Ivy. You have these big names. There's also the Calendar Man.
Calendar Man's awesome.
You have the Mad Hatter.
Mad Hatter's really good too.
He actually is really cool.
Yeah, I'd say Mad Hatter's really good. Let's go with Calendar. Calendar Man is it depends which story. Like, if we're going with like the old one where he was just like, I'm gonna steal things on Easter, like an Easter theme. That was terrible. But if we go with like the Zack Snyder's, not Zack Snyder, but not Chris Claremont, but oh my God, who wrote New 52? I own them all too. I own all of them, like in hardback. But his writing, how he wrote Calendar Man, was like he was a serial murderer that did things based off holidays, which was crazy.
If they made Calendar Man that in the game, it'd be a lot more.
Yeah, but we had Zaz, so you really.
I mean, Zaz. I actually liked what they did with Zaz. Like,
yeah,
Zaz
Victor Zaz is awesome.
Or they had like in the first game, when you found like the Riddler trophies, the one you had to find was for the ventriloquist. Who's such a mid villain.
He's awesome though. I like the way the ventriloquist works because it's really good for Batman because he's the epitome of what Batman villains are. There are some kind of mental illness, and he's just the epitome of it. Like, Poison Ivy's an eco-terrorist that went crazy. Scarecrow was just a dude obsessed with fear, and he decides to use that. Like, all his villains are usually like some kind of dichotomy of Batman.
That's why I like Batman better than Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I love Superman too. Superman's great in his own ways. I just love DC in general, but as far as games go, like, I loved Arkham City. I liked Origins. I loved Asylum. Like, those two are Asylum and City are at my absolutely just they're both the top one. Like, they can fight for number one.
I think that's fair.
Now Arkham Knight, trash fire.
Yeah, like, that game was bad.
It was bad because they took away the main element. Of that game.
It was still a pretty game. Like, the game was still looked really
good.
Good.
And there were some good things. Like, the Killer Croc storyline was really good then.
Really fun,
The Man-Bat was in that one. Just some of the side stuff was great. It was just all the main line.
The main story was bad, The side quests were interesting. The one thing I really liked in Night was the Riddler challenges were actually legitimately difficult in that game.
Yeah.
Like, Asylum, they weren't hard. Arkham City, they got a little more challenging, but they still were kind of like the hardest part about them was like some of the tunnels that you had to throw the remote batarang through.
Yeah.
Because the camera angle is so bad. But in Night, there actually was some like actual challenges, and I like that.
I think the thing that ruined Night, and we can both agree on that, is the Batmobile.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
If they would have never put that in there, took all that out, and left it back up to the Batman stealth gameplay, I guarantee you that one probably would have been a smash hit. That would have been the best one. Because the whole concept of the whole city is going completely nuts, and all his villains are out.
Yeah.
Because you go through methodically and capture them all by the end of the game. If you want to finish
it. It's a great concept.
Yeah, because it put everything into context. It put relations between Jim Gordon and all that. It was great. But then again, they also ruined Scarecrow in the third one too.
Yeah.
I don't know why they changed his motif so hard because he was great looking in the first one.
He was legitimately scary in the first game.
I don't know why they changed him to be whatever they decide. Jigsaw, yeah, more or less. Yeah. Jigsaw.
He basically came out now.
They left everyone else the same.
Yeah.
Bane was still the same character art, type, model, everything else. Everybody else was still the same.
Except for Scarecrow and a little
Except for
tricycle.
Scarecrow. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing they changed Scarecrow to be Jigsaw and super serious for some reason. I liked it better when he was just really creepy and crazy.
That's all I really want from that.
Yeah, because that's all he is.
Yeah.
But so that's all I got for anything interesting coming up. E3. E3 is going to be failure. That's the other thing I saw. I was reading that this morning. PlayStation, Nintendo, and somebody else has pulled out of E3. So it's...
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're we don't need E3.
Wow.
So it's looking like it's more or less the only person that's really going to participate is maybe Microsoft. And that's because I guess they have a facility or something that's literally right next door.
Yeah, they're one of their big headquarters buildings is right near the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I think is that's the only reason why. I feel as a whole E3 was over after COVID, no matter what.
Oh yeah, well on top of that, Nintendo has their own version of E3, their own specific big thing every year.
Yeah, but now so does PlayStation, everyone else. So I think E3 just needs to drop. Unless they take E3 and make it completely about independent developers.
I think what they should do is they should turn E3, instead of making it a broadcasting new and upcoming games, make it a big tournament.
Yeah.
Bringing games that aren't shown that much, like Smash. Smash is really popular, but how often do you get to see it on a big stage?
Well, unfortunately, because of Nintendo and how they're doing everything with that, you can't do anything with Smash.
Right. But that's just
the minute you start making any kind of money on Smash, they try to...
Right, yeah, they come sneaking on in.
So, no, but I agree with you. Do a big gaming tournament, but have a lot of your indie developers.
Yeah.
Go to that. Showcase.
Do what Awesome Games Done Quick does. Make E3 a big charity thing. It looks good for you, right?
Yeah.
You can have people come in and play new or upcoming games. Bring samples of games.
Yeah.
Have these really good players have good players come and try your game.
Yeah. And then have do it like they do with Comic-Cons or anything. Have panels, have stuff like that. Have independent game retailers. Don't have GameStop there.
No.
Have Joe Schmoes use Game Emporium there and have a table and let them sell and
make
promote for you, give them a sponsorship. If you get so many pre-orders of this, then we'll do this for you or do something or you earn this. There's so much they can do with it, but E3 as it sits right now is no longer going to be
a viable thing anymore. I don't even think I've watched E3 since 2019. I think that was the last time I watched E3.
I haven't watched hardly any of them. I just usually wait till all the trailers and then there's usually people who do a compilation of all the trailers back to back.
Yeah, because 2019 is when they announced Cyberpunk at E3.
Yes.
And they had Keanu Reeves there. I think that was definitely the last one.
That travesty.
Oh my gosh. That game, It was definitely disappointing. I actually do have one piece of news that I'll bring up because I was looking into some stuff because I knew I was going to be on today. Have you seen the new Steam game that dropped that cost $2,000?
No, I have not.
So it's basically, let me get the name of the game. Apparently, it's a passion project for this little game developer. Let's see where's that. So the game is called The Hidden and Unknown. So it's by a developer called Pawns. And yeah, it costs $1,999.90. I'm not sure at that point why they didn't just add the extra 10 cents and make it $2,000. But
I don't know. They have a reason.
So I'm sorry, it's called The Pro, not Pawns. The Pro is the developer behind it. Basically, they said they don't believe anyone will buy it, and they actually discourage anyone from buying it if they can't afford it because they don't want to cause trouble. But they also said that because they basically said this is his life's work, he doesn't want to sell it for $20, so that's why he made it $2,000.
Yeah, I'm half tempted since my tax return's coming, just to be that guy.
The problem is, like, you would have to tell me that there's an infinite number of gameplay.
Yeah.
Like, infinite hours of gameplay for me to even think about throwing $2,000.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing. That it dropped on Steam 6 days ago.
It has 2 user reviews.
2 user reviews, yeah.
How much about one of these reviews is him?
Oh, 100%, yeah, probably. But yeah, that was the big piece of gaming news I've been kind of keeping an eye on because I've been like refreshing Twitch on repeat
to see if anyone's
trying to find somebody playing this game because I've watched the little gameplay trailer and it does not look
entertaining in the least.
It doesn't look like they didn't do anything. Like it looks like a Flash game. Like it really does look like a Flash game to me. Like obviously a little bit better graphically, but it's just one of those things where it's like, if you're gonna charge me $2,000, the game better be absolutely game changing. Like it has to be something that no one's ever done. And I don't think we're in a space of video games where anybody has the ability to do something that no one's ever done.
No, just like movies, there's never going to be anything that somebody hasn't already done.
And if the game was $2,000 and I get like a gaming chair that fully immerses you in the game, or it's some Sword Art Online stuff where I get like transported into another world, hopefully ending better than Sword Art Online.
Or a supermodel comes over every day and like decides to clean your house naked. $2,000. Yeah. Well, like,
shut up and take my.
I don't have to clean my house. She don't even have to be naked. Like I don't have to clean my house. All right.
She can wear a parka. I don't care.
Yeah, right. It's free house cleaning.
Yeah.
For $2,000, I'd buy that game.
Yeah, bet.
Yeah, right. So, all right. So now we're gonna move on to stuff we've been playing.
All right.
I've actually been kind of boring the last couple of weeks. I haven't really been playing too much. Sticking to League, playing TFT. I'm only 500 blue essence short to finally have the last champion of the game, and then I own all of them finally.
Oh man, how long has it been since I've not owned a champion in League? I buy them on release every now and then. Like I have like 200,000 blue essence. So as soon as the champion drops, I just.
Yeah, no, I don't have all that.
What do you think about the recent updates of League?
I actually haven't been playing Rift too much. I've been playing mainly TFT with my fiance.
Okay.
I jumped back in with our old group, Tony and all them, and I did really well. The first game, playing Alawi, of course, standard,
The throwback.
Yeah, I haven't stopped playing her. She's still decent, apparently.
No, she's still fine, yeah.
And since she doesn't change too much, I never really found a seat with her, so she was kind of easy. Orin's really powerful right now. He's so good. The one I wish they'd fix is Tom Kench.
They've been trying to fix him since release because he's been either way too powerful or way too bad.
Yeah,
they haven't found a good middle ground for him.
No, and it makes me sad. Like them switching his ult for what it is now.
Oh yeah, he can't eat people. He can't like save somebody by eating them unless he has ult.
Yes. Okay, whatever.
They didn't want him to be a support. That's why they did that.
Yeah, but now they changed how it works with his tongue and interaction with minions. You used to be able to flick minions, eat them, throw them.
Yes, which was a really fun little mini game.
It was a really good tactical way because it gave him a long distance option.
Yeah.
It ate up some mana, but it did enough damage to counteract the two,
Right.
and it required skill to do. It required correct timing and correct use of the ability.
Yeah.
And now it's just mediocre. He's just super tanky now. He's super tanky, and he just stuns a lot.
The thing with it that I agree with you to a certain extent. I will say that they did make his tongue range longer.
Yes, I saw that.
And it still is a skill shot technically. It's got a really wide hitbox though.
It always has.
Hitbox. But I think Tahm Kench has some interesting gameplay styles to him. But yeah, he's not where he needs to be, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he had more interesting gameplay styles when he first came out than what he does now. What he is now is very generic. Very generic.
He's not versatile anymore. He used to be a versatile. You could jungle with him. You could top lane. You could support. You could play him multiple lanes. Yeah. He's only a top laner now.
Yeah, and he's not even a great top laner. So that's what I've been playing a lot. I'm getting ready to start playing some other stuff. I just started Persona 5 Royal Edition.
Okay.
Oh my god. So I love it. I love its aesthetic. There's not a whole lot of explaining what's going on in the first couple minutes. So I'm really hoping that they, start
giving a bone or something.
Yeah, like a little better tutorials, something like they're really assuming that you've already played the other ones. But it's also very basic, so I'm not going to be super upset about it either. Like, so far, I love the look of everything. I plan on playing it. That's going to be my project for the year.
Okay.
Not for the show, because I'm not going to be able to complete it in a month.
Right.
That's going to be a long-term project. My next short-term project is finishing Choo Choo Charles. I started that on a stream a couple weeks ago for the show, for the first stream ever on New Year's, and I plan on doing it probably next weekend for the anniversary of the show.
Okay.
First year anniversary. We're gonna sit and do a live stream again. So working on that. Choo Choo Charles is next thing. Went back and played BioShock again. I've already talked about that. So I really don't have too much to talk about as game-wise. I played this, which is unfortunate, but by the time we get back to the show next week, I'll either have Hogwarts Legacy or Dead Space under my belt.
Okay.
I just haven't had the extra time to sit down and play anything lately.
Right. I mean, yeah, like I've been kind of generic in my games recently. Like I got the newest Call of Duty, and I maxed out my level in that, maxed out the battle pass, have half the guns gold and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a Call of Duty game. Like that. That's
it's a remake of 2, isn't it?
It's not a
Or no, that was last year. Was the remake?
Yeah, that last year was the remake of 2. Yeah, this one is like the game that I feel like they should have made after the original Modern Warfare. Like, this is the game that we kind of wanted, but they didn't really have the technology to do it. But it's fine. That's what I'll say about it.
I mean, every Call of Duty's been fine.
Yeah, Call of Duty 4 was the last game. Was the last Call of Duty where I was like, this is legitimately one of the best games that I've played.
I liked Mod Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2 was, again, it was like, yeah, it was good. None of their games are really bad except for
the one where
Cold War. Cold War was bad.
Cold War was bad. I was gonna say Infinity or whatever the one where it was a futuristic stuff. That was also bad.
Oh, Advanced Warfare?
Whatever it was. Oh my god, I hated that. Bad. I got through like the first half of the campaign. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah, that was really bad. Other than that, I've been playing WoW. I don't have the new expansion yet. I will.
Say, is there a new expansion here?
Yeah, I'll be getting that soon. I've just been kind of trying to ease back into it because it's been a while since I played. So I'm kind of just like messing around and just like relearning all the new stuff they have in there. And I've been playing a lot of Pokemon. I beat Scarlet Violet.
That trash fire.
Are there problems with the game? Absolutely, yes. I'm not going to sit here and defend it. Is there elements of that game that are super fun? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely elements. Like the Terra raid battles are legitimately like really fun and entertaining. But yeah.
Yeah, but so were the Gigamax battles and that stuff. It's just a melancholy version of that.
Like, yeah, I'd give it a 5. It's a 5 out of 10 for me. It's fine.
Yeah, like I'm not against that. I was actually really not against the Terra thing because I was like, I like the Gigamax. This is just a different version of Gigamax.
Yeah.
And it's actually a very strategic version of Gigamax. Gigamax was they just became big and do more damage and have fancier moves. Where this is more a tactical thing where you can like, oh, well, here comes this, and I can, terrorize into the exact skill set.
Terra ground into an electric Pokemon.
Exactly, and just be like, get wrecked.
The moment where I was like, Terra is broken was when you Terra, you lose your typing, so you lose your weaknesses. You still keep your stab moves.
Oh, that's good.
So if you're a dark type and you Terra ground, your Dark Pulse still a stab move.
Yay!
And all ground type moves you have are also stab moves. It's like, okay,
why not?
Yeah, that's nice.
I kind of quit playing it. One, because I have to re-up my live service before I even bother playing it because it doesn't seem worth playing unless you have your Nintendo Online. But I'm also it does not feel good to play. There's parts of it, like all the battles are terrible. Oh my God. Okay, I was complaining about this when I was playing through Sword and Shield a little bit, where they were taking away from the movesets and the animation of the moves for other stuff.
Yeah.
But they weren't. But because they added so many other things, it made it okay and kind of worthwhile.
Right.
Like they had to, not every move is going to be stellar and have its own super thing. But at one point, it was just like fist, and like a little squirt of water. And I was like, all right, it's starting to get a little lazy. This is just beyond lazy.
Yeah, I don't think there's maybe like 3 or 4 moves that have like really cool animations.
Any kind of animations. Yeah. Like it's very saddening because I will say they put all their animation budget in the Gigamax moves. Yeah. This just it does not feel good at all. It doesn't look good. It doesn't make the battles interesting. There's no real pop to anything.
Yeah. It feels very bland the whole time.
Yeah.
The thing that I hate about it, there's 2 things I really hate about it.
Okay.
One, every character in this game is the cringiest person.
Yeah, they're all school students.
And they're weird about it. Like they're weird about everything.
Like I made mention of this was the very first character I met outside the school was a 70-year-old man who said he spent 50-some years looking for the first gym.
Yeah.
And then you have the big fat effeminate man with and he's like posturing all the time, very flamboyantly. Yeah. I was like, this is weird.
It's not like those are just like NPCs. I'm talking like Arwen, who's like you have 2 rivals, right? You have Arwen and you have I played through I don't know if it's different if you play the female character, but as the male character, you have like your neighbor girl, who's your rival.
Well, there's the main neighbor girl who's the one who gets you started and everything. Yeah. She's like an upperclassman.
Yeah, her and then Arwen,
the one that has like the weird backpack that was getting picked on near the beginning.
No, that's Penny. That's Penny. That's the girl who
Arwen. Is that the dude who has the sick dog or whatever?
Yeah, he's the one with the sick dog, and it's like, oh, my dad's dead. And it's like, no one cares.
Yeah, right. They're very weird. They're just
and what is it? Team Star.
Yeah, that's.
Oh my god.
When do they? I'm trying to think. Like that used to be one of the hooks of the game was you had an evil team you deal with periodically.
Team Rocket was cool.
Team Rocket was let's just be honest. Team Rocket was the best, especially in Gold and Silver Age. Yeah. They were at their peak in Gold and Silver because they were actually doing crime.
Yeah.
The first time you deal with them is some crazy dude from Team Rocket is sitting in the bottom of a well chopping off Slowpoke's tail to sell on the black market.
That was kind of messed up as a kid.
And then the next time you deal with them is when they take over the radio station, where they have the owner of the radio station locked up in a basement and they've been beating on him for hours. Like it even talks about how they were torturing him, beating him for no reason.
No, they just felt like doing it.
Like, well, they had a reason. They wanted to get a hold of like the one song on the radio so they could wake Snorlaxes and capture them.
Right.
Like, but it was always like a black market thing. Like they were an actual criminal organization. Then we had Aqua and Magma, which they weren't bad.
They were fine. They were both
they were just terrorist groups that had their own beliefs,
yeah.
which made them still decent villains because they were fighting for what they believed in.
Right.
Then we had after that was Team.
Was it Team Plasma?
Yeah, the weird ones that were no, Plasma was white and black.
That was white and black.
We have not Diamond and Pearl, which was the Galaxy ones.
Oh yeah.
Or the dudes like, we need to be in space. We want to go to space.
Yeah, with Mars and it was just Team Galactic, I think. Right?
Yeah, I think it was Team Galactic.
Yeah,
they were decent because they were just like, we know Pokemon are aliens. We should go to space.
I would say Team Galactic was the first in the line. That was the first like group of bad guys that were actually legitimately difficult to fight.
Yeah.
Like, Mars had that Purugly in the wind tower. The wind tower.
Yeah, and it did insane amount of damage.
Yeah, it's crazy
all the time. And then Plasma was white and black.
Yeah, terrible. They were terrible.
They were terrible. Like, it was a very terrible team with a very terrible storyline.
Yeah.
And then White and Black 2 was just the same thing.
Yeah.
I did not like White and Black 2. I think that was did I complete that? Yeah, I completed it. But I forget White and Black exists. That's how bad it was.
I don't even remember who the starters were for White and Black.
Oh my God. No, I don't remember either now. They were weird. Pokemon White and Black.
Was that Litten? Was the fire one in that?
I think so.
So it would have been Litten.
Starters.
Or no, Litten was Aloha.
Yeah, Lola. Oh, it's Oshawott, the pig, and Snivy or whatever.
Oh, so the worst grass starter.
The worst grass starter.
The second worst water starter.
Yep.
And actually, you know what? T-Pig is legitimately probably one of the better fire setters.
Oh yeah, he was great. He was a great Pokemon. Like, it's just, that was just, I keep forgetting that game exists.
Yeah, that game's bad.
And it was bad for a number of reasons because they tried to do a really, like, we got to set Pokemon free. Okay, I get that. There should be the terrorist group was like, we got to set Pokemon free. But then you're like, oh, it's actually the king's right-hand man who runs it, and he's just using it as a way to create profits for some vague reason.
I was like weirdly political when it didn't need to be.
And it didn't make sense.
Like, I'm just trying to play Pokemon here.
Yeah, like, I don't mind if it was political, but it didn't make sense for what he was going. He's like, if I free all the Pokemon, then I'll have the Pokemon army that we didn't actually free. And I'm like, and do what? Not like anybody can't go out and recapture them. Yeah, like, what are we doing?
Throw a ball at it, it's fine.
Yeah, right. So that was bad. Then after that was what? I think that was X and Y.
X and Y was after that, yeah. Yeah, because it was White and Black, then X and Y, and then Sword and Shield, right?
Yes. So, yeah, after White and Black, we had White and Black 2, which was a sequel, I guess. I never played White and Black 2. I didn't touch it.
If I remember, it wasn't really a sequel. It was just a different...
Like another side of the story.
They added more gym leaders. If I remember right.
So,
it was basically the same game, but if I remember right, you just fought more gym leaders.
That's stupid. I'm glad I didn't waste my money on that. And then X and Y happened. And X and Y was the start of awesome.
X and Y was really good. The only problem I had with X and Y was I wasn't a huge fan of the legendaries. Like Xerneas and Yveltal.
Yeah, well, one was a giant Y and the other one was a giant X. Like, what are we talking about? But I will say that. But the storyline, decent.
It was good. It was
like, hey, this dude's immortal and he needed the legendary so he could die because he did something and they kind of cursed him. So if we capture legendaries, he'll be able to die, and that's exactly what he did.
I do like that Nintendo slips in like some pretty serious subject matter.
Always, yeah, once in a while, yeah.
I liked X and Y. No, after X and Y was Sun and Moon.
Nope. X and Y was then Sun and Moon.
Then Sun and Moon. Was terrible.
They were not good, but there were some decent things about them.
I liked the Alolan forms of some of the Pokemon.
The Alolan forms and some of the new Pokemon we got were amazing.
Yeah, I will. Yeah.
The Z moves were stupid.
I like the Z moves because they're nutty.
They were stupid. I don't care what you say. They were stupid.
The one thing I don't like, I really didn't like about Sun and Moon, was the surprise twist at the end where the chairman of the Pokemon League was actually the bad guy the whole time. It's like, homie, the first time this guy showed up with his weird goatee, I was like, that guy.
The obviously evil looking guy is the villain at the end.
The only dude in a suit in this entire island.
Yeah.
You're going to tell me he's not supposed to be the bad guy?
You're right. And the whole no gym leaders thing kind of threw me off.
Yeah, that was weird.
It threw me off. And then there was Sun and Moon 2 or Ultra Moon or
Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon,
yeah, and they were also just the same game more or less.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Except for you start out with a legendary in those.
That's actually kind of lit.
Was the Cosmo or whatever thing?
Yeah.
That evolved into one of the two dudes.
Well, I think the funny thing is, I think you get that, but I don't think it learns any move other than Splash until it evolves.
Yeah, it's so weird.
And then it was Sword and Shield,
which I loved.
I thought Sword and Shield had the best storyline.
Yes. I think it felt. Here's my controversy. I felt Sword and Shield felt way bigger in scope than Scarlet and Violet.
It did, yeah. Oh, I'll absolutely agree with that.
It felt way bigger in scope. It felt like a big world. Where I've noticed with Scarlet and because there's no interior to buildings really. There's a couple, but most of the buildings are for some reason always allocated so you can be outside at all times.
That's because they didn't generate the game properly.
Yeah.
They spent way too much time, like you said, they spent way too much time on these stupid scenes. Like you have to throw your Pokemon out and fight 20 things in 10 minutes. It's like that. It's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
I mean, I was okay with that because then that allows you to do like quick leveling. Like that was a cool way to maybe implement quick leveling or.
Oh no, that part was cool. But like I'm talking in the star, like when you go to play one of the star leaders.
Oh yeah, you have to just do the auto battle all by itself forever.
It's impossible to lose, so it doesn't matter if you do it or if it's there.
Well, first of all, that team sucks anyways because they're not even a. Just like, and I will say Sword and Shield's evil team wasn't really an evil team.
No.
And this one's not an evil team either. But I also liked the team from Sword and Shield just because they were rappers for no reason. They were just...
I forgot they were rappers, actually.
I didn't. It was awesome. That was the best part of them.
I think I blocked that.
When they were just like, yo, dog, let's go with the Pokemon. I'm like... What are we doing? But I'm okay with this. I don't know what's going on, but I'm okay with this.
I think, Sword and Shield was actually. That was the big start of like, wow, this has just gotten really cringe and weird.
Yeah.
But then Scarlet and Violet should have been an extent because the open world in Sword and Shield felt bigger. It felt more immersive.
Yes.
Because you had these loading times between zones to load up the areas. But because of that, you could allocate better memory to them. And if they looked pretty, they functioned properly, and it was fine.
Yeah.
Scarlet and Violet, they wanted to make the game open. Like, that's what they wanted to do. But the problem is they did not think about they're going to have NPC sprites. They're going to have Pokemon sprites. They're going to have you riding around on a motorcycle Pokemon faster than normal walking speed, so everything has to generate.
Yeah, and be able to keep up. Now, here's the other thing. I like how they say it's completely open world, do what you want, but it wasn't because you need to do the Mystic Quest to unlock the bike Pokemon's abilities to move around through the map easier. Because there's certain spots you can't get to, and unless you glitch through it, or you have to do everything in a certain order to be able to get. Which is, I hate that. I hate that false open world. If you're going to be open world, you just need to go for it, and have the game adjust its levels accordingly to wherever your levels are at by the time you get to certain spots.
Right. That's another thing. Like, I can't imagine it would be so difficult to code something in there that if you leave the starting area, like just make it so that you're like you don't have to lower like fully evolved Pokemon. They don't have to be level 1. That's fine.
No, do what they did. Now that's what they did do, which I found was genius. Is if your Pokemon at a certain level, you will not see other Pokemon because they don't ever start out at that level. So you won't see a level 1 this because you're not up to that level.
Yeah.
Like I was okay with that because that was a genius way to be able to make it reasonable for you to keep getting your level higher, as well as then you get to re-explore areas because you're like, oh, now my stuff's all at level 80. I wonder what I'll find now that my stuff's at 80 and see if there's a new cap there.
It would be nice if you went back to older areas and the Pokemon were leveled. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand why they don't do it.
Yeah.
Because the game is designed so you can bring your friends on. So if you want to pal around with your kid or something, it makes sense to not have level 100 Pokemon everywhere just because your Pokemon are level 100.
Yes.
But the problem that's always existed within Pokemon is that there's a plateau in Pokemon where if you get to a certain level, the game's not difficult anymore.
Yeah.
We were talking about it before we started. That's why I've been doing hardcore versions of Pokemon and been running them as Nuzlockes. So if my Pokemon died, they're gone forever. I can't revive them.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, Pokemon's not difficult.
Yeah.
All you need to do is, this is a water gym. Okay, well, I have 6 grass Pokemon.
All right, watch me walk through this.
So I'm going to go slam my face into this water gym.
Or I have one Pokemon that's 10 level higher than everybody else.
Yeah.
I'll just sweep this pretty easily with him.
Overall, Pokemon's a franchise that I've been playing since I was a child.
Same here.
I will buy the next game that comes out. I'll complain about it. I'll have problems with it, but I'm going to buy it. It's not going to be for another 10 years. But
yeah, I've gotten to the point where I started skipping certain games. Like if I know, like I said, I skipped Sun and Moon. Then I picked up Ultra Sun and Moon. I played 20 minutes of that. Got bored of it. Moved on. Then I played Sword and Shield. Loved every minute of that one because I already knew. I'd like it just from the aesthetic. It caught my eye. I was like, all right, I'm going to play this.
Yeah. I thought I was actually I was a really big voice for Scarlet and Violet because when I saw screenshots and I saw the concept, I really did think it was going to be something that changed Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was excited for that. And it's not the first time that Nintendo has come out and
pooped the bed.
Yeah, premiered something that you're like, oh,
yeah, well,
this is going to be something cool. And then you get it and you're like,
oh, this is mediocre.
It's the same, like, it happened on the Wii all the time.
Well, it was the Wii. The Wii was a bad idea from the start.
But conceptually, it was a fantastic idea. Yeah. That's the problem I had with it. The Wii should have been a handheld, and that's why it's a Switch now.
Yeah. Oh, well, the Switch was... I think the Switch is Nintendo's magnum opus. Like, that's it. That's the pinnacle of what they've achieved. They've hit both sides of what makes them a great gaming company. Their hardware, which was they always had the best portables.
Yeah.
And they've always had easy access consoles.
Yeah.
The Switch has become the perfect amount of both.
Yeah.
You can pick it up and go.
You can plug it into a TV
and just go right away. There's no wait time, and is easily able to take anywhere.
I'll sit here and I will guarantee in 5 years they're going to come out with something new, and it's going to be they're going to tout that. The problem is with these game developers too is that when they get a new thing coming out, they'll stop supporting their old thing because they want their new thing to sell.
Yes,
and so they're going to come out with a new thing.
Nintendo's actually pretty good about that. Look how long they supported the DS.
That's absolutely true.
They supported the DS all the way up until what? 2 years after the Switch?
Yes.
Like they stopped making games for the DS a year after the Switch, but then they started pulling their support 2 years later. So they're very good about it.
I will grant you that. There is again there's that pitfall where support will stop for the Switch.
Yeah.
Which it's unfortunate. I love the Switch. It's one of the few consoles that I still play on. Because I don't consider it a handheld. It's beyond a handheld. It is a console. Like that's what it is. it doesn't. It has some drawbacks. It doesn't have the power that like a PS5 has, obviously. But again, you can't pick up your PS5 and
you're sacrificing the power for the convenience and the accessibility,
which I'm fine with. Honestly.
Exactly. Now, what I feel they're going to do is just run the Switch into the dirt. So I think the next Switch model is going to be still playing the old Switch games because I don't think they're going to let that go.
No, I can't imagine that.
I think they're going to let that run for another 2 or 3 cycles. So we're going to get like the Switch, like we got the OLED. Now we're going to get the Switch something else, which is either going to be more compact or slightly more powerful or slightly different. And it's going to have games that run off those specs, just like they did with the 3DS and then the 3DX, the new 3DS. And then we're going to get into another version, and then that'll go for a while, and then we'll get a whole new one. And I think what they'll do is make it backwards compatible because how much?
I think they might do that too.
Because and then the first generation of whatever's new will have backwards compatibility with the Switch, and then after 1 or 2 cycles, then it'll stop being backwards compatible like they did. Like, because that was always the great thing about the DS and all that. Like the new DS was backwards compatible with all the others.
Yeah, because it just used the same.
It just was ramped up. It was just more powerful. Yeah. Allowed to play Xenoblade.
I would take a Switch that was slightly bulkier, a little more, not crazy amount, but a little more hard to maybe like if you have this much room, something's right in front of you, you can't have your Switch. Because right now I can have my Switch. I could be on a plane and I can have my Switch, and there's 2 inches of room. If I would sacrifice a little bit of that convenience for more power.
Yes.
Like if there's a little bit of a bigger, a little bit bulkier, I'd be fine with that as long as it had more power.
And have a little bit longer battery life. Not much. Like I've had good amount of battery life out of mine.
It depends. I've had days where my battery's like, yeah, I got you, and it'll last for 6-7 hours. But I've had days, especially if I'm playing online.
Yeah.
Where it's like
Monster Hunter, that was for me.
So you got 2 hours.
Like, get it done.
You either need, I hope you have a charger, or I hope you get what you need done.
Yeah, right.
And half the time I don't get what I need done, I don't have a charger. So I'm just like,
well, I'm out of luck. Yeah, so, like, that's where I'm at with that. And I just feel like they're not going to abandon Switch now, especially how insanely valuable Switch games are. In the aftermarket, they're insanely valuable.
Yeah, compared to other consoles, they
don't drop.
Yeah,
Nintendo doesn't drop their products worth of nothing as it is.
Yeah.
But because Nintendo's letting all these indie developers make Switch port, and since it costs next to nothing for them to just put it on a Switch card and go, these independent developers that go, oh well, we only made like 500 copies of our game for Switch hard copy. They're you buy them when they came out from a GameStop. Now they're worth 3 times as much because there's not that many in circulation. The store ran out right away, or the store hardly got any. Like the 500 just got distributed throughout the United States and Japan, so there's like 1 per store, and they become so increased in value. Like I was looking at just some of the games, like Xenoblade 2, the DLC to that.
Yeah.
Came out in a hard copy of its own, because it was more or less its own game on top of being DLC. That's worth like $90 now.
Oh wow!
If not more. I think last time I checked, they were going for 120 sealed. Bayonetta 2, sealed with the code for Bayonetta 1, or 90 some bucks.
Wow! What, the Switch games drop at like 50, right?
They drop it like 60. Yeah. They're price of regular games. But what I'm saying is like just like Xbox, you pick up a copy of Bayonetta 2. Let's say if it came out for that. Even if it was sealed, it would be worth less than.
No, it'd be worth like $15 max.
Yeah, max. Even sealed with the original copy, Bayonetta 1. But because it's on Switch and they don't make that many of them in the first place, it becomes like gold.
I will say I think Nintendo needs to do some stuff to they won't, because Nintendo knows how big they are.
Yeah.
I think they could do some things to reward their fans. better because the last couple games that I played on the Switch, I wasn't super impressed by them. But
nope, neither was I.
So I'd like to see them put like some real effort into make a better Pokemon game.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be. I don't need a perfect game for Pokemon. Yeah. Pokemon is the epitome of it's a fun time waster.
Yes.
All I want is for it to look good.
The closest two things I say where they're both big successes recently, besides like Zelda, Wind Waker. I mean, not Wind Waker. Oh my God,
Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild. That was a big leap. That was huge.
Yeah.
After that was Metroid was decent, but it didn't do anything super stretchy, but it was a great game. Dreadout was great. Was nothing brand new. They had some new mechanics to make it feel super fresh. The storyline was super good. Bayonetta 3 was a flop.
I didn't play Bayonetta 3.
I did.
Once a game becomes more popular because of the drama than the actual game, I just kind of lose interest in it.
Yeah, but I was already invested into Bayonetta 3 before it was drama. So, and the drama made it more successful. It was that whole drama situation is a whole other thing. We actually covered that when it was going on, just because it was interesting.
It was a big story.
Yeah, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, she's getting screwed out of her money," and then you found out she's just a liar and just was greedy. And she said, "Bet." They called her out. She didn't like it.
Yeah, she played a game and messed around and found out.
Yeah, exactly, and she found out hard. So Bayonetta 3 was not good. Now, Bayonetta 1 and 2, the storylines were always really hard to follow. And then at the very last second of the game, there was always something to tie everything together.
Right.
Like, oh, that's why this is this. This is this. This is how everything comes together. This is why this is here. Okay. Not for Bayonetta 3. They have 2 cliffhangers that they never established, never touched at all. They just introduced this concept and said, this is a thing. We're not going to tell you why. We're not going to tell you how. It just is what it is. Get over it. And moving on. Now, they have Bayonetta Origins coming out next month. I'm going to buy it and play it. Just because I want to see if that's what their big plan was. Have all these dangling strings over here from Bayonetta 3 to lead into this, to go back. And if they do that, I'll be disappointed in them. Because then that was just a cash grab.
Right.
And that's a bad showing on their part.
Yeah. And it'll be even worse if they don't touch on any of those things.
I actually prefer them not to touch it. Because then you can be like, what is going on still? And that creates interest for Bayonetta 4.
That's true, yeah.
But we got 2 minutes left. So, like I said, you can catch us on our YouTube, Alpha Nerd Podcast. We have a Facebook, Alpha Nerd Podcast. Same thing. We have our Discord. We have our Teespring. I think we have something else. I can't remember what I set up. I think we have a Reddit. Not sure. Gonna have to double check on that. I was working on it at one point, and I just kind of fell off.
We'll do some research into our own show and figure out what we have.
Yeah, I have to research on all the stuff I did. I got burnt out and took a couple weeks break, and I've just jumping back into everything hardcore. So I really gotta do some. I should have left like a trail of what I was doing last.
Just like little breadcrumbs, like what's that movie Memento?
Yeah, right. So other than that, please continue to listen on WXPI. Rob, thank you for coming in.
Absolutely.
I'm hoping you enjoyed it, and you want to continue this and be a regular part of the show.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna be back.
All right, sweet. Have a good night.